Good morning, everyone. Today, we will be presenting our report topic on the issues pertaining to educational leadership. The following issues and challenges that we will be presenting have been identified regarding the practice of teacher leadership in schools as experienced and perceived by the teachers themselves in today's modern world. There is legitimately common pattern across countries in the school structure regarding leadership positions. Each school is often headed by a single individual known as principal or sometimes referred to as head teacher. He bears the responsibility for the school's operation, which depends on country governance structures, usually Department or Ministry of Education. Traditionally, school leaders have been described as head teacher who has more responsibilities than their colleagues. The rise of teachers who demonstrated leadership capabilities and taught well at the same time has steered to the formulation of teacher leadership as a concept believed to be as equally critical behind transformations in school. Given this context, it is of great significance and of importance to examine the existence of teacher leadership in the public school system and identify the challenges that the teachers face. Teacher leadership, when fully practiced by educators and valued by their colleagues, will make a significant contribution to the privatizing practice, which is currently focused on the principalship or administratorship in the Philippine context. The concept is so critical for collective learning when everyone is given the opportunity to exercise it on their own classroom or school settings and contribute using their own expertise, knowledge, and other personal assets. Teacher leadership is not a new phenomenon, something that did not just spring into existence in the early years of the 21st century. This concept has a deeply rooted history, reaching back for more than 100 years. In the light of broader school reforms, the concept of teacher leadership has been notably being used and acknowledged for school reform and improvement. The first issue or challenge pertaining to educational leadership is the teacher classification and lack of leadership training. In public school, teachers are classified into different teaching positions such as teacher, master teacher, head teachers, and special education teachers, all of which are equally involved in classroom teaching. However, there is no clear distinction between the duties of one teaching position to another. They are based on personal qualifications rather than duties, responsibilities, and qualification requirements of the positions. This qualification scheme was implemented to support and compensate initiatives for teachers pursuing professional growth but not to enhance leadership potential. Moreover, the promotion to a higher teaching position does not require an increased duties and responsibilities. It is merely based on higher degrees like postgraduate qualifications and participation in continuing professional enrichment programs. Bureaucratic conceptualization of teaching is deeply embedded in the fact that teaching is a flat profession in most settings. That is to mean that the first day on the job for a teacher with 10 years of experience is practically the same as for a novice just entering the profession. It entails that both are the teacher of record with responsibility for a class they oversee on equal grounds. Thus, we can say that the work of an experienced teacher is not the essentially same as that of a novice. Experience is of a great importance, especially in the teaching profession, which confers many benefits to both educators and their students. It includes strong familiarity with the curriculum, better understanding of students, wide repertoire of instructional methods and strategies, and also the ins and outs of the school and the district. Meaning to say, Experience is oftentimes accompanied by expertise. Such expertise is a product of professional experience with a constant desire to reach out beyond their own classrooms. However, the teacher classification, unclear duties, and lack of incentives are problematic in the country's system. DepEd compensates its teachers using a tool called Teachers Preparation Pay Schedule. It is a classification and compensation scheme for teaching positions in elementary and secondary schools based on a combination of competencies which include academic or educational preparation, work experience, and extracurricular professional training and certificates. For leadership assignments and roles, TPPS does not provide a clear provision to more compensation or reduce teaching load. Generally, teachers who perform additional assigned tasks or leadership roles are not provided with benefits. Meanwhile, teachers can be promoted to principals through two different career tracks. One is the school administration track, or second is the master teacher career under the classroom teaching track with the criteria which include educational background, training, experience, and performance. This can serve as a hindrance to teacher leadership because these policies do not encourage teacher leadership and these policies discourage those with leadership. Potential but without further academic qualifications are teachers who can lead but no incentives. Also, teachers do not enjoy ample support from such policies. The lack of opportunities for professional growth is a source of frustration and burden to teacher leadership. No training programs are facilitated that could expose teachers to new knowledge and teaching approaches for them to grow professionally. Teachers are taught and trained to be leaders of their own classroom, but we need to stimulate their leadership potential in and out of the class through more seminars and trainings. Professional development should be prioritized if teachers were to lead the improvement of school and student learning in their instantaneous roles as teachers and leaders. The inadequacy of professional development trainings and programs across the system could also be the root of the displeasure and may be part of the reason behind some teachers' lack of confidence that made them shy away from practicing leadership duties.
Another issue pertaining to educational leadership is a school fund issue. School funding issues are a major problem with direct links to students' achievement levels. Schools with smaller budgets, which often can't offer small classes and better programs, see lower students' achievement, creating a socio-economic in education. The primary purpose of educational leadership is to ensure academic success through process, material, and training improvements. This is mainly accomplished through collaboration with different individuals such as educators, parents, students, public policymakers, the public, and most especially funds. When school districts spend money wisely, they have better outcomes, including higher test scores, increased graduation rates, and other improved indicators of student achievement. More money also helps ensure that students have schools with better facilities and more curriculum options. School funds are important. Well-designed school funding policies are crucial to achieve quality, equity, and efficiency objectives in school education. It is also important to recognize that the pursuit of efficiency and equity can go hand in hand when it comes to the allocation of resources. Next is contractual agreement. Constraints in employee contracts often preclude education leaders from making rapid change and making school improvements more expeditiously. Until now, there is still a lot of employees who are under part-time contract. Constraining their contract limits their capacity to lead and make rapid changes in the educational system. We should not judge the book by its cover. They could have done better in improving school policies and academic programs. Now, let's talk about the lack of leadership training. The lack of opportunities for professional growth is a source of frustration and burden to teacher leadership. No training programs are facilitated that could expose teachers to new knowledge and teaching approaches for them to grow professionally. Research found that some teachers have been teaching for only 3 years, but most of seminars they attended were about teaching modules. They have never been requested or chosen to attend leadership workshop or seminars. Some teachers only attended seminars about gender and development, and that was because they're teaching social science class. Moreover, it was note-taking that most leadership seminars are only for principals or older teachers. Furthermore, professional development should be prioritized if teachers were to lead the improvement of school and student learning in their instantaneous roles as teachers and leaders. The inadequacy of professional development trainings and programs across the system could also be the root of the displeasure and may be part of the reason behind some teachers' lack of confidence that made them shy away from practicing leadership duties. As one teacher said, teachers are taught and trained to be leaders of their own classroom, but we need to stimulate their leadership potential in and out of the class through more seminar trainings.
Another issue pertaining to educational leadership is government mandates and accountability. The issue stems from misguided belief that evaluation determines outcomes. To be successful, accountability mechanism must first develop capacity to increase effectiveness of teachers and school leaders. Evidently, school assessment programs are progressively requiring teachers to prepare scripted tests and use superficial metrics to measure learning. They continue to emphasize simple quantitative metrics in evaluation. Despite the current demand for college and job readiness, and clear signs that the former, in particular, is highly dependent on the good social and behavioral skills. If accountability mechanisms are to be effective, they must offer both qualitative and quantitative metrics. Other indicators of learners' well-being, as historical understanding, the arts, foreign languages, science, fitness, and civic participation, provide a more complete image of our learners' readiness for the dynamic world in which they live. It will reveal how well not only our schools but also our societies are doing in fostering the skills and values we appreciate in our learners. Reconsidering how we keep schools and their administrators responsible will be a positive first step towards attracting the powerful superintendents we desire. It will increase the likelihood that the information given assists them in making the group connections necessary to affect positive change. That the best one remains on the job long enough to see the transformation through. Another issue is the surpassing achievement standards, a lack of trained curriculum leaders and instructional experts, as well as limited funding resources for curriculum and ability growth. An achievement criterion defines the level of learning, or it is the breadth of experience, the depth of comprehension, and the maturity skills that indicates the learner is ready to move on to the next level of achievement. While teacher issues were established, it was unknown if the teachers had chosen or discussed the program prior to its implementation. Perhaps part of the issue was selecting a program without undertaking the adequate research prior to the implementation. With this in mind, one potential solution is to give opportunity for curriculum to be piloted before implemented. This approach would encourage allow teachers to share their experiences while piloting the system with their colleagues. Taking a constructive approach may have an effect on the curriculum consistency while also providing opportunities for teamwork and problem solving. Let us now discuss the principal leadership. Principal leadership is like a book that reflects on the actual concerns of school leaders, providing them with realistic, hands-on solutions for improving their classroom in an ever-changing educational world. The literature on school leadership and administration also offers various perspectives on the tasks and responsibilities that building principals must fulfill. Furthermore, the principal's function has been altered with the introduction of school or site-based leadership, which has resulted the decentralization of power shifting, significant decision-making, jurisdiction from the district office to the individual schools in order to allow principals, teachers, and others more control over what happens in school. All this makes the roles that building principals must face every day more complex than ever. Today's principals also have a heavy workload and work at a rapid pace that is both hectic and taxing. Increasingly, principals are also being pushed, but not so gently, into instructional and community leadership roles. According to Mendel's 2012 affirms that today's principals should concentrate on teaching rather than building a management. In many ways, today's school principals must constantly juggle the many hats that wear each day. According to Wallace 2013, a recent Wallace Foundation study or the School Principal Leader Guiding Schools to Better Teaching and Learning indicated that effective principals perform 5 key practices as well. And these are shaping a vision of academic success for all students, creating a climate hospitable to education, cultivating leadership in others, improving instruction, and managing people, data, and processes to foster school improvement.
The application of teacher leadership in the local context can potentially make a significant contribution in shaping the culture of their schools, advancing student learning, and influencing practice among their peers. To wrap things up, the concept of teacher leadership still struggles to thrive in school organizations. The issues presented critically limit the role that teachers play in the school. With the recent educational reform wherein K-12 curriculum was adopted, this suggests that the application of teacher leadership in the local context can potentially make a significant contribution in shaping the culture of their schools, advancing student learning, and influencing practice among their peers. That's all for today. I hope you've learned something new from our video presentation. For comments and clarifications, feel free to comment them below. Thank you for watching. Until our next one. Goodbye!